currently we do a road show called Monetize Your Business, and it is across South Africa. It's a roadshow tour in which we host workshops for various entrepreneurs. And at every single workshop, we're doing masterclasses, we're having fireside chats, and we also have entrepreneurs that pitch their businesses, and we give them grant funding, money that they're able to put into their businesses, working capital into their businesses. So this is something that is a huge success story for us, because we're not just talking the talk, but we are actually on the ground doing the work with these entrepreneurs.
Do you remember those leadership experiences or challenges that you've gone through that have helped you to become what you are today?
Absolutely. You know, gosh, leadership is such a big thing as you are growing your business. When you are a one-man band, leadership is all about self-leadership. It is how you are leading yourself, the disciplines that you are inculcating for yourself so that you meet the promises that you have made to yourself.
Hi there, and welcome back to the Leadership Podcast with Mutondi R. This is a place where we get to sit with phenomenal women and speak about their success and leadership journeys. And today I am so excited to have this wonderful guest, Hetty the Entrepreneur. I have been waiting the longest to have her on this podcast, and today she's sitting right here, and I believe she has a lot to share with us today. So before I allow her to introduce herself, I just like to, pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Divine Chartered Accountants, which is a boutique accounting firm focusing on accounting, tax, advisory services that doesn't just give you information about your numbers, but gives you the story behind your numbers to help you grow and scale your business. So now back to the podcast. Hetty, you are welcome to the Leadership Podcast with Mutondi R. So Hetty is an entrepreneur, a monetization guru, and an author. Right?
Yes.
Not to mention public speaker, right? So Hetty, can you please just officially introduce yourself to our guests?
All right. So hi, everybody. My name is Hetty the Entrepreneur. I am a monetization expert. I am a trainer of entrepreneurs, particularly on behalf of corporate organizations as well as a published author. And I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for making it. And I believe the conversation is going to be great. So, Hetty, I know you have done a lot in your many years of existence, but can you just, tell us a bit about your journey and what has contributed to you being here where you are today?
Well, look, I'm a child of the African soil. So I love our beautiful continent, and I love our people and the great potential and work that we do within the continent. I work with entrepreneurs. I work together with my husband, who is also my business partner. And together we run a monetization agency. We are very passionate about entrepreneurship, particularly among African entrepreneurs. And we work with corporate organizations to train entrepreneurs, to empower entrepreneurs, to fund entrepreneurs, etc. The journey has been long. I'm an entrepreneur myself, multi-skilled, multi-talented, and multi-passionate. And in our various businesses that we run together, we've been able to get some accolades along the way, such as Mail and Guardian Top 200 South African, Top 1000 African Voices. In fact, our mentor, we came out as number one on Vusi Tembagwayo's Top 40 Mentorship Program, which was something that was a huge accomplishment. I'm a TEDx speaker, and recently, in fact, on International Women's Day, I was also announced that this came up on social media. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Top 100 African businesswomen of African descent. So I thought, wow, this is absolutely incredible. But at the heart and the core of it all is really working with entrepreneurs to help them unearth their talent to help them grow their businesses and to scale their businesses onto a large level.
Oh, okay, that's beautiful. It looks like it's a lot of meaningful work, and you're able to see where you have started with a business and to where they end up. So, what are the success stories? Just a few that you've come across that just gave you like tremendous results.
You know, there are various success stories. For example, currently we do a road show called Monetize Your Business, and it is across South Africa. It's a roadshow tour in which we host workshops for various entrepreneurs. And at every single workshop, we're doing masterclasses, we're having fireside chats, and we also have entrepreneurs that pitch their businesses, and we give them grant funding, money that they're able to put into their businesses, working capital into their businesses. So this is something that is a huge success story for us, because we're not just talking the talk, but we are actually on the ground doing the work with these entrepreneurs. We've also got a mentorship club. This is a digital club, and that extends over 6 countries currently, with entrepreneurs across these various countries, different industries, different stages of their business. We are mentoring them. We're doing live coaching with them. We're bringing in guest experts, and they're growing, they're flourishing. We recently had one that recently was able to get their products into retail stores within a prominent retailer, and that for me made me extremely proud. We've got another one who recently opened their products up into a pharmacy in the UK. I thought, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So working day to day with these phenomenal entrepreneurs and seeing their businesses grow and flourish, that for me is the highlight.
Sure. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I've seen your work. I've attended your events, some of the events where you were speaking.
Yes.
And I don't think I can let this one go, but
yes,
I've told you that there's just something behind you when you're speaking, the impact that's in your voice. What is behind that? Is there a recipe? Did you learn it somewhere, or?
Listen, this voice is given to me by God. And then all I then had to do is learn how to kind of train and use my voice for the purpose of which I've been brought here on this earth. And so I think that crafting and the honing of one's voice is something that I've actually been quite intentional about. I have done public speaking courses. I've had public speaking coaches. I also go back to my own work and critique myself, because I am a professional speaker and I am booked to share my knowledge and my expertise. I work on my craft in the same way a singer works on their voice, in the same way an actor takes acting lessons. There's your natural God-given gifts and talent and ability, and then over and above that, it is you taking that craft seriously and refining it. I think of it like having a diamond in the rough. When you take a diamond out of the earth, it's rough, it's dirty, it's got all of these grimy edges, etc. But when it has been chiseled away and the beauty of it comes out, that is where you get the finished product. And that's how I view my voice as well, as an instrument and a tool.
Sure. That's beautiful. And I'm glad that you answered it that way, because one can be easy to conclude that, oh, Hetty is just, that good, when she speaks. But for you to say that you have worked on the voice so that you come out the way that you do, I think it speaks to the importance of learning how to communicate. And I think this is one major skill right now that can make you a success or a failure.
100%. Listen, I agree with you emphatically. As entrepreneurs, even if you are a corporate athlete, your ability to be able to communicate effectively is going to make you stand out in the crowd. It's the ability for people to stop what they're doing, rustling around with papers in a boardroom, and sit back and actually pay attention. It's the difference between somebody walking on stage at an event and them putting down their phone and saying, hang on, I need to listen to this person. What are they saying? The ability to command an audience and to command a room so that people are hooked on your your voice, and not only that, but are actually listening to the content of what you are saying, that is a gift and ability that if you are able to craft it, you can get investors to back you, you can get clients to buy from you, and you can get people to believe you.
Wow. Sure, I'd never thought about that.
Absolutely.
Sure. So there is, a benefit to, spending your time and your money in improving how you speak. Because at the end of the day, if it's your craft, then that will result in more money for you.
Absolutely. And, when we talk about how to speak, we are not talking about accent.
Yeah.
We're not talking about accent. And I think that is something that's important to clarify, because sometimes people think they need to sound like another person in order to make it. We are talking about voice projection. We are talking about clarity of your voice. We are talking about your tone. We are talking about the way that you articulate yourself. We're talking about elocution. We are talking about gesticulation. How do you move your arms? How do you move your eyes? How does your body respond to what it is that you are saying?
Sure.
And that's got absolutely nothing to do with accent. And I think that's important for us, particularly as Africans, to know, because we are a special breed of people that have often been told that we need to change and mold ourselves to become something different in order to become digestible for society.
Yeah.
And what I am saying is the way we are is already good enough. What we are doing is refining what already exists. That diamond in the rough, once again, it didn't need to turn from being something else into a diamond.
Yeah.
It was already a diamond in the rough. All it needed was to be cleaned and chiseled so that its light could be able to shine.
Sure. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think you put it so well. You put it so perfectly. So Hetty, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Gosh, it's a tricky one, because I often think to myself, at what point did I become an entrepreneur? Was there a particular event that happened that brought me to this point? And when I look back at my journey, I think it is one of those things that has just been crawling within my veins. I mean, even as a young child, I would get 5 Rand pocket money. And then what I would do is, on the way to school, I would buy sweets at the garage. And then I would take those sweets and then I would sell them to my classmates.
Wow.
Before break time. By the time break time came, I had turned that 5 Rand into 10 Rand. And then I had more money to buy at the tuck shop.
Wow.
So then I wondered to myself, where did that come from? I didn't know it's called entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was flipping the 5 Rand. I was just doing what came naturally. I saw a supply and demand opportunity and I took advantage of it. So I think it's one of those things that has been just within my veins, to have the ability to see opportunities and then not only see them, but to take advantage of them. Because truth be told, Mutondi, how many people see an opportunity and then they talk about it? Oh, I've got this idea. Hey, Chomi, let me tell you about this wonderful idea. And then they don't execute.
Sure.
So I think the biggest difference with me is that not only do I see the opportunity or have the idea, but then I then follow it up with execution.
Sure. Yeah, and I like the fact that you've touched on that. There's a lot of ideas that many of us have that never get to be executed. But for me personally, if I can just share my struggle, is that I'll have 5 or 10 ideas at a time. And then I don't know which one to start with.
Yeah.
What can you advise in that situation?
Listen, that is not as unique as you may think. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are multi-skilled, multi-passionate, multi-talented. They've got a myriad of different ideas, but they don't know which one to do first. And because as entrepreneurs, we are very excitable human beings. The minute we think of something, we want to do it immediately.
Yes.
But the problem is, if you think of 3 or 4 things in the week, you've got several balls in the air. And of course, we know what's going to happen. Something's going to fall to the ground. So what I always advise entrepreneurs is, first of all, to really prioritize and to say, in this season of my life, what is this the season for?
Okay.
And really narrow down, is this my season for growth? Is this my season of incubation where I need to take care of myself, nurture myself through coaching, through mentorship, through acquiring knowledge, through doing courses? Is this my season of execution? Do I need to have an accountability partner? Depending on the season of life that you are in within your business journey, that will determine what of your ideas you should be executing at the moment. Because not all ideas are for right now. Some ideas, it's okay to put it on the shelf. It's okay to visit it in 6 months or 12 months' time. So having the ability to know this particular idea, is it ripe for the season, or does it need to sit on the shelf and incubate a little bit longer?
Oh, okay. So, but you've put it simply because you understand it. But for the layman out there, so if I want to follow like a decision process,
Yes.
and I say I have like 5 ideas,
Yes.
and all of them, I believe, are for right now.
Yeah.
What is the decision making process that I can follow in order to come out with the right idea?
So first and foremost, one of the things I do is I always think to myself, this year in particular that I am in, what are the top 3 things that I am focusing on? Not top 100, not top 50. What are the top 3 things that I am focusing on this year? It could be, for example, growing your podcast. It could be selling your books. Then you could say, my third thing is getting more coaching clients. Great. So now you've established your top 3 things you're focused on for the year. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've got this new business idea, please come on board. You need to take a pause and say, does it fit into these top 3 things that I'm focused on this year? If it doesn't, you need to recognize it for the distraction that it is. Because what it's going to do is it's going to take you away from your core objectives for the year. It doesn't mean it's not a good idea. It doesn't mean it's not a good opportunity, but it is not the opportunity for the current season that you are in.
Sure. Yeah, I think that breaks it down so wonderfully. Sure, you are a true entrepreneur. But I think that also takes a bit of self-control.
It takes a lot of self-control. It takes a lot. Listen, entrepreneurship will teach you self-control. It will teach you that if I have 1 gigabyte left of data, am I going to sit and watch memes? Or am I going to sit and educate myself? Am I going to sit and create content so that I can put it out to my audience? It will teach you discipline and self-control, because those are the tenets of good entrepreneurship.
Sure. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Now you're making me want to join your mentorship club. I'm learning so much for myself, and I believe that everyone who's watching is learning as much as I am. So let's talk about your leadership journey, because you know, as much as you're an entrepreneur, author, you are leading teams. And I believe you have been in corporate, and there were some, you know, leadership stories and experiences that have shaped you in, you know, who you are today, right? Do you remember those leadership experiences or challenges that you've gone through that have helped you to become what you are today?
Absolutely. You know, gosh, leadership is such a big thing as you are growing your business. When you are a one-man band, leadership is all about self-leadership. It is how you are leading yourself, the disciplines that you are inculcating for yourself so that you meet the promises that you have made to yourself. But when you start growing as we have, and you're no longer a small to medium-sized business, but you are now actually growing a large organization, the challenge now becomes corporatizing, making your organization into a corporate, so to speak. And that challenges your leadership skills and ability, because you've got people that are reporting to you. You are overseeing an entire organization. And that for me has meant me really being able to take a close look in the mirror and say, what type of a leader am I?
Mm.
In corporate, I knew what it was like to be under the leadership of people that we feared.
Yeah.
To be under the leadership of people that just somehow didn't make you feel comfortable being yourself, sharing ideas, raising your hand, lifting up your voice, etc. And so because I knew what I didn't want to replicate, sometimes you also need to have the conversation with yourself to say, in as much as you know what you don't want to be, have you figured out what you do want to be?
Yeah.
And if you say that you want to create an environment where people can speak up, where people can share their ideas, where people can be free with you to be able to voice if they're unhappy about something, do you have the self-mastery to be able to hear critical feedback when it comes back to you, to be able to surround yourself not with yes people, but with people that will give you an occasional no.
Yeah.
And that isn't the easiest at all. I would say that would probably be the challenging part. However, if you can work through your own personal development to get to that point, the feedback that you get is actually going to be the stepping stones of progress and the stepping stones to actually grow your organization.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think I share the same sentiments, regarding the experience in corporate and different leadership styles, some which I can just call bossy styles, not really leadership, where people want to be feared. And I think it's very important for one to stand back and say, do I really want to be here, and what type of a person do I want to be one day when I am a leader, right?
100%.
Yeah, so from those experiences, what taught you not to do in leadership, and what were the values that you decided for yourself that this is what I'm going to adopt as my leadership style?
For me, I think one of my greatest callings is the ability to help people unearth their strengths so that they can contribute positively onto this earth.
Beautiful.
And as a leader, that is what we are actually called to do. Leadership is having the ability to be able to inspire people to all go within a common direction and a common goal and purpose.
Yeah.
With all of us utilizing our unique skills and ability and contributing to us journeying towards that common purpose.
Yeah.
And that is the type of leader that I want to be, and that I aim to be in my dealings with our team, because I know that everybody is bringing their unique skills and talent.
Definitely.
And if you stifle that, you actually rob all of us of the opportunity of being able to leverage those unique skills and talents.
Yes. So I completely agree with what you've said. And I want to just bring in something that I just thought about now. You mentioned that you work with your husband, right? So in terms of your leadership values and leadership style, do you align, or do you have like differing leadership styles, and how do you manage and navigate that?
That is such an interesting question. So first and foremost, we work together in our business, and we do have different leadership styles, both of which are strong leadership styles and positive leadership styles. And what I like about it is the fact that because we've got different leadership styles, we are able to fill in each other's gaps. And I think that is what makes us such a dynamic duo, is the fact that we understand each other's roles, we understand each other's strengths, and we allow each other to perform within the context of those strengths. Because there's no point focusing on the weaknesses.
Yes.
Why would you want to multiply and magnify your weaknesses? You want to be able to amplify your strengths, and that's what we're able to do for each other. Our roles are different in business and different in the home.
Yeah.
And that is also a beautiful thing, because in our home, I have the privilege of not needing to be Hetty the Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I have the privilege of being Hetty the wife, Hetty the mother. And that is really great, because that is a soft, relaxed Black woman. And I think that that is something that I'm privileged to have. So I'm able to, within the home, have one set of almost what can I say, persona that I am.
Yeah.
And then within business, I have another set, and both of which are me, but then it allows me to tap into different facets of myself.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one because a lot of people, they would always advocate for you're a CEO at work and you're not a CEO at home, especially directed to women, right? So it's quite interesting to find out how you actually manage that transition.
Yeah.
Because
No, I've heard a lot of people say that, and the truth is that it all depends on what the home environment is like. And is it a place that is supportive of you? Is it a soft landing? Is it a place that you are able to have that soft landing within your home? Because often at times people wear the hat of a CEO in the office and at home because they feel that they have no choice, but they have to do that. And I'm very privileged in the sense that I can be in a position where I'm well taken care of within the home.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that part. So I wanted to ask this particular question, right? We spoke about the values that you have as a leader. And how do you then translate those values to the teams that you are working with so that you're able to bring up people with, similar values,
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, it's such an important thing because every single employee that we have, every single partner that we partner with, every corporate that we work with, we always first and foremost make sure that we are aligned on values. The work that we do is the type of work where we are giving back to the entrepreneurs that we serve. And so it is a servant leadership type of working system. And so we always have to make sure that at the end of the day, the recipients of our work, which is the entrepreneurs, are being served, are being honored in the way that we do our work. It cannot be self-serving. So when we go out there and we're looking for entrepreneurs to be able to give funding to, we're really looking for the ones that are deserving of it, the ones that are going to put good use of the money, the ones that are really hungry for it, and we are unearthing them so that we can be able to be of service to them and we can actually literally change their lives. When we are coaching and mentoring within the mentorship club, it's the same thing. These are individuals that have put time aside to be within the club. We want to make sure that we're serving them. We want to make sure that they're growing. So that alignment on values is huge. It's absolutely critical.
What's your top 5?
My top 5 values? Well, first and foremost, it's service. First and foremost, it will always be service. And the reason why it is service is because entrepreneurship is not about serving ourselves. It is always about serving others. And then it is only through serving others that you monetize. That is one of the big secrets to monetization that people may not necessarily be aware of. Don't ask me, Hetty, how can I monetize? Rather ask me, Hetty, how can I serve more people? Because the more people you serve, the byproduct of service is monetization. When you serve people with your product, when you serve people with your knowledge, when you serve people with your expertise, when you serve people giving an actual service, the byproduct of that is monetization. So how do I serve more people? How do I meet more people's needs? How do I solve problems that are happening in society? And through doing that, you are then able to monetize. So value number 1 will always be service.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when people think entrepreneurship or business owner, they just think money. I want to be a businesswoman because I want to have a lot of money.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you spoke about that one, and I think it's a primary thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I really believe that. Our second value for me is very, very important because it speaks to how we conduct ourselves, and that is the principle of Ubuntu. I really truly believe that we are living in a time where we only give respect and honor to people because of the number of followers they have. Their perceived fame, or what we think we can get from people. We are losing the value of respecting other people simply because they are a living, breathing human being. And for me, I have come to find that my destiny helpers have been people that come from different backgrounds, that hold different roles in society, and sometimes will come from the most unexpected place.
Sure.
Do not think that just because somebody is not famous or is not well known, that they may not help you, lead you to the next door that's going to open up for you. Just that principle of just having respect for every human being that you come across. And that is a value that we inculcate into our team. So it doesn't matter which corner of South Africa we are in, servicing the entrepreneurs on the ground. We treat people with the same level of respect every single place that we go.
Sure, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so contrary to what obviously we believe as people. So when we speak of Ubuntu, I feel like as Africans, we are mostly losing it now. Everything is about money, right? How can one bring themselves back to, having that heart of caring about the person without knowing what their possessions are or position in society is? How can someone bring themselves back to the Ubuntu, value that we know South Africans for or Africans for?
One of the things I have learned to do is when I'm speaking to somebody, I listen to them in that moment. I'm not listening with the view to reply. I'm not listening thinking about what am I going to be doing after this conversation? Konja, I need to respond to an email. I am not thinking, as I'm listening, I'm also playing with my phone and checking something. If I'm listening to somebody, I want to be literally present within that particular moment. And I feel that that's very important because there is nothing that communicates to someone that you take them seriously more than being present in the moment and literally just listening to them.
Yeah.
And giving them that time that they deserve, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Let it be 10 minutes that they feel like they actually connected with you.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that's very important. It is simple little things like the way you greet a person when you enter into a room.
Yeah.
It is not because sometimes people get offended. Oh, I greeted that one, they didn't respond. It's not about their response. It is about who you are in the greeting of that person.
Okay.
How they respond is no longer up to you.
Yeah.
So we do not change who we are based on other people's actions. We maintain and remain steadfast in who we are because of the values that we have.
Sure. And Hetty, I think, I'm your greatest fan. That the value that you have spoken about now, I can attest to that because from the conversations that I've had with you, even the first one when we met, I felt so important. And when I left, I felt like Hetty really heard me and she considered me. And I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think it's an art or a skill that we are losing, that if we did more of, you'd actually be shocked how many doors open up because people remember you. And the day you need help or the day they come across an opportunity, you'll be first of mind because of the way you made them feel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure, that's beautiful. Value number 3, should we go on?
I think the third value that I really want to end with is kindness. I really want to end with kindness. Kindness, there's actually studies being done on the impact of kindness and the impact of what it does to another human being to receive kindness from someone. Sometimes people are going through a great deal and you don't know what a simple act of kindness can do. A simple compliment, a simple smile.
Yeah.
There's a science behind smiling. That if you smile at someone, they have to respond with a smile. It is extremely difficult to respond to a smile with a frown. And so that is your ability to actually uplift a person's mood because the smile itself, the shape of a smile is uplifting.
Oh.
And so I think just the act of being kind to one another is something that we have lost. And if we can inculcate that even in our business dealings, you will find that people will respond more differently to you. Your suppliers, because you've been consistently kind, because you've consistently practiced Ubuntu, because you have consistently led with service, they will be able to actually bend over backwards for you in a manner that they wouldn't do for any other client. And that is because of the way that you are showing up in the world.
Sure. No, that's beautiful. That's so wholesome. Thank you so much for sharing those powerful values. And I think they are so different from, what you can typically hear from someone who's in business out there. I'm glad that everything that you've spoken about, it has to do with people.
Yes.
And I think that's the missing puzzle when it comes to a lot of businesses. A lot of them is all about chasing deals, chasing money, not caring who's going to suffer in those dealings. So I am very happy that we still have that kind of caliber of business people out there.
100%. Mutondi, it speaks to personal development. And personal development is our theme for the year as a monetization community. And the reason for that, I have seen even in my own personal journey. The more that I grow in my own personal development, the bigger my businesses have grown, the more revenue I have made, the greater impact I've been able to make. And that is because our businesses are a reflection of ourselves. The reflection of our growth journey, the reflection of our leadership style, the reflection of our ability to emotionally regulate. It's a reflection of our ability to be able to master ourselves. And so when you are focused on personal development, you will actually see the benefits in your business.
Sure. That's beautiful. And it reminds me of a quote by Jim Rohn that says, work more on yourself than you do on your business.
Love that.
Sure.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah. Because I also believe in personal development because it has helped me a lot.
Yes.
To deal with, it can be disappointments and, bad experiences that one has faced in the past. And I realized that by working on myself is how I'm able to overcome all those issues, regardless of what the perpetrators did. Or, so I think it's a beautiful approach. And I was there at your year-end function, and I remember you said it is the theme for 2025. So I am taking it personally for myself, to develop myself personally through reading and watching informative podcasts and having these kinds of conversations as
100%.
well. So let's talk monetization. So there's a statement that you said one time.
You're going to expose me now.
No, I'm going to expose you because sure, that really hit in the middle of the heart. And I couldn't sleep that night. And I think I'm just going to paraphrase because I can't remember vividly. But you said your pricing is a reflection of your self-esteem. So if you are pricing low, that's where your self-esteem is. And I felt like, oh my gosh, Hetty is talking to me.
100%.
So why do you say that?
Here is the thing. Often at times when you find a person underpricing their products or services, when you get to the core of the matter, what you discover is that they are underpricing because they're either not confident in themselves, they're not confident in the product or service they're offering, or they're not confident in their track record. In other words, they haven't been operating for long, and therefore they don't feel that the length of time they've been in business justifies their pricing. Either way, at the bottom of it is a lack of confidence, and it's a lack of esteem for oneself. And that is why our pricing is a reflection of our self-esteem. When you are confident in yourself, the value you bring to the table, the juice, that uniqueness, your value proposition, yes, you are that girl, you are going to price accordingly. When you are confident in the value of your product or your service, you're going to price accordingly. And so it is important for us to work on those elements, because pricing also determines how we psychologically rank a product. The more expensive a product is, we are going to automatically assume that there is better value that is attached to that product. That assumption may be right or wrong. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily correct, but that is the human psychology when it comes to pricing. Now, I am not saying that price high for the sake of pricing high. You price to the value that the product is. You don't price low and say, oh my gosh, once I've developed a clientele, then I will increase the pricing. The higher your pricing is, the greater the value that you give in accordance to that particular pricing.
Sure. But how do you then strike the balance to make sure that your value reflects the pricing that the price that you're charging?
So first and foremost, you need to be able to understand your target market. So I often say you either have a pricing problem or a target market problem. Sometimes you are pricing correctly. The pricing that you've put on the product is all well and good, but the people that you are selling to or the environment that you are selling in is not the correct environment for that product. So I had a lady who was telling me about selling Stanley cups, but she was wanting to sell Stanley cups within an environment that saw no value in paying that kind of price point for Stanley cups.
Oh, okay.
So she didn't have a pricing problem. She had a target market problem. So what do you need to do? Move. Move to where people see value in what it is that you are offering. The moment she started moving her products to an area where Stanley cups are in demand, she no longer had a pricing problem.
Sure.
So that went to prove that the problem was not the product, it wasn't the pricing, it was the target market. So you need to be able to ensure that the environment that you are in speaks to the product and service that you are offering from a pricing perspective. That is how you strike the balance. So do you have a pricing problem or do you have a target market problem? Now, also, when it comes to pricing, it's not just about underpricing. Sometimes you might be overpricing in the wrong environment or underpricing in the right environment. Let me give you an example. When we were running our retail businesses, we moved and opened up a grand store within the biggest mall in sub-Saharan Africa. And when we opened up that store, we kept the pricing as it was as when we were trading within Central Town.
Sure.
And what ended up happening is that demographic would enter into the store and they would say, why is it so cheap?
Something is off.
Something is off here. It wasn't, they didn't say the product didn't look nice. They were interested. They tried on. They'd feel the material. Everything looks amazing. But why is it so cheap? So then you then realize that we were then underpricing in the right environment. So we needed to then raise our pricing to meet the environment that we were in.
Okay. So, but how do you do that without shocking the market? Because if you already introduced a cheaper product and now you need to take a leap and price higher, how can you manage that transition?
You will shock them. You will shock them. And you must brace for impact. You will shock them. And you will shock them because you shocked yourself by underpricing in the first place.
It's a reverse shock.
It's a reverse shock. That is the price that you pay for underpricing in the first place. So you have two choices. It is either you move to an environment where that price point is appropriate for that environment, or you are going to lose your customers that have been comfortable with the reduced price.
Sure.
You will absolutely lose them. They will go to other service providers that are providing at that lower price. So you will have to take that knock until you learn marketing strategies to attract the ideal customer that you are looking for. And then from there, hopefully you would have learned your lesson and you keep pricing correctly going forward. But the shock you will get.
You will get the shock.
Yeah.
Sure. That takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes courage. It takes bravery to say, you know what? what I'm doing currently is no longer sustainable.
Yes.
I'm not making enough to cover my expenses, or I am actually needing to pour in to be able to cover everything, which means that I'm actually losing money. Something has to change in this equation.
Sure. Yeah, that's a word for me as well. Because when it comes to when you start a business, just like you said, because you feel like I've just started, everyone will advise you start from the bottom, just get your clientele in and all that. And right now we are in the process of renegotiating the cheap clients to say, look, our value is much higher.
You don't renegotiate cheap clients, and in fact, it is not their fault that you underpriced in the beginning.
Sure.
Listen, and mind you, there is a space and a place for cheaply priced products.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with having cheaply priced products. You can play the mass market game and work on economies of scale.
Yes.
So let's look at two examples. Let's say, for example, you've got Mr. Price and you have got, I don't know, Ralph Lauren, for argument's sake, right? Both of them are selling white T-shirts. Mr. Price white T-shirt is 20 Rand. Ralph Lauren's white T-shirt is 4,000 Rand. Both of them are not short of clients. Both of them are doing well in business.
Yeah.
The difference is that they've both understood their target market. Mr. Price is targeting someone that's looking for affordability, that's looking for convenience, something that is cheap and cheerful and decent enough. Ralph Lauren is not just selling a white T-shirt. They are selling status. They are selling I've arrived.
Yeah.
When a person walks into a room and they're wearing that T-shirt and they see that horse over there, they don't even need to say that the affordability bracket, it already speaks for them. And so their target market is completely different. So you can decide in your industry, in your area of expertise, do you want to be a Ralph Lauren or a Mr. Price? Both of them are equally good, but do not then have a Mr. Price pricing and then or want to have a Ralph Lauren clientele with a Mr. Price pricing. It's not going to work. And you cannot be upset with your clientele for that.
Sure. Wow. Another one that just went straight to the heart. Thank you so much for that, Hetty. And I think it's I'm in the service industry, and I think in that space, to convince, it's unlike where you have packaging. This is Woolies. The branding has spoken for them. But one of the struggles in the services space is to say, how do I differentiate myself? I am a chartered accountant. The firm next door is chartered accountants. How can one distinguish themselves as a Ralph Lauren, in the midst of, all that?
So first and foremost, if you cannot be in the business of convincing, that is the first thing you need to rid yourself of. You cannot be in the business of convincing. You need to be in the business of attracting. There's a huge difference. When you see a Ralph Lauren advert, they're not trying to convince you to buy from them. They are attracting you through showing you how aspirational their brand is. So the way that you attract your ideal customer is by showing them why they need your product or your service, or why you are a solution to their problem. And the problem may be different. It could be a practical problem. A person needs school clothes for their kids to go to school. That is solving a very practical problem. A luxury holiday, however, is solving a different problem. That is not the problem solving of like taking a Panado tablet because you've got a headache. That is the problem of saying, come, you deserve rest. You've been working so hard. Let me show you the most perfect holiday for a person of your caliber and your stature. That's also solving a completely different problem. So you need to understand the game that you are playing and then play within the rules of that game.
Sure. No, that's powerful. That's powerful. I'm taking that one home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now when it comes to monetization, right?
Yes.
I think you're a leader. I've never heard of another monetization guru. What are the opportunities for monetizing that is available in South Africa for a professional?
So, look, monetization is all around us. First and foremost, it's important to understand that monetization, in essence, is the ability to generate revenue from whatever activity that you are doing. So whether you are in corporate or run your own business, etc., there are different ways to be able to monetize. You can have one product. By then releasing more products, you are generating an opportunity to be able to sell more. By developing additional streams of income, you are generating more opportunities for more revenue to come in. By building a personal brand, you are finding ways to commercialize who you are. So there are so many different opportunities to be able to monetize. I always say, let's look at what you are already doing and let us look at the opportunities that are on the table where you have left money on the table. And then we start from there and build outwards.
Oh, okay. No, that's beautiful. And I think the point that you raised, that monetization is everywhere. Like I've seen people monetizing the most ridiculous things.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Look, listen, just yesterday in our mentorship club, we had a guest speaker. It's a young gentleman. He's got over 5 million followers across social media, and he is monetizing in so many different ways. Paid partnerships, brand deals. He is monetizing through his book. He's authored a book. He's monetizing through advertisements where people run ads on his page. He's monetizing through affiliate marketing. And so monetization can come in a host of many different ways. You just need to look at what is it that I am good at and how many different ways can I make money from this thing that I am good at.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. So when it comes to being a woman who is a leader in a space, what are the challenges that you can say are gender related that you have come across?
Let me be honest with you, Mutondi, and listen, this may not sit well with people, but if I had to sit down and focus on the things that are working against my favor, I would not be where I am. If I focused on the fact that I'm a woman, if I focused on the fact that I am Black, if I focused on the fact that I'm an only child, if I focused on all of these different things that could be perceived as setbacks, we are not going to be able to move ourselves forward. Does sexism exist? Yes. Does racism exist? Absolutely. Does bigotry exist? Yes, it does. And then what? And so I think we need to reach a point where we say that within the spaces that we are in, we are going to fight to make a life for ourselves, despite our circumstances, in spite of everything that may be counting against us. Now, this isn't easy, but it is absolutely doable. We do a lot of work with township entrepreneurs, and these are the most inspiring people that you will come across because against all odds, they wake up every single day and say that I am going to build a life for myself beyond what my eyes can see. And those are the most inspiring people around. So have I faced challenges because I'm a woman? Of course. I've had people wanting to undercut me. I've had people wanting to know, actually, can I rather speak to your husband and negotiate with him? Because the perception is it's men who are good in business and who know negotiation skills and whom I can talk to, etc. So one of the things that I have learned to overcome as a woman entrepreneur is the desire to be liked. Because as women, we are programmed with likability. You know, everybody looks at women to say, is she nice? Is she a nice person?
Yeah.
Nobody says that about men. Nobody asks if the guy is nice. Are they a nice person? A woman's value is attached to either their beauty or their likability. I've completely rid myself of any of those labels. What I have told myself is that whichever environment I may enter into, I will ensure that I'm undeniable. So whether you like me or not is entirely up to you, but you will not be able to ignore me.
Hetty, that's a lot of confidence. How did you cultivate that?
Listen, I would be lying to you, Mutondi, if I said to you that I wake up confident every single day. Confidence for me, because of the nature of who I am, is something that I've had to practice. It is something that I have had to ensure that I am also in environments that pour into me in a positive fashion. I do affirmation.
Okay.
I also do ask-formations.
Okay.
I also make sure that I'm surrounded by people who know and see my value and can remind me of who I am when I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know of affirmations, but ask-formations.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yes.
Do you mind expanding on that?
Absolutely. So we know of affirmations. Affirmations is like looking in the mirror and making statements and repeating them to yourself. For example, I am beautiful, I am intelligent, clients are attracted to me, etc. That's an affirmation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you're just not believing it. You're not believing yourself.
Yeah.
And so let's say, for example, you've been called to pitch your business proposal and you are drowning in self-doubt and limiting beliefs. And you're like, gosh, can I really do it? Ask-formations basically means that you are asking your brain to provide you with evidence that you are worthy.
Okay.
So, for example, did you submit the proposal? Yes, I did. When the proposal arrived, did people look at all the different proposals? Yes, they did. Upon looking at the different proposals, did they then decide to shortlist the best candidates? Yes, they did. Did they call me and say that I have been shortlisted? Yes, they did. Therefore, that provides you with irrefutable proof that you are meant to be where you are. So you then need to go and kick butt.
Sure.
That is an ask-formation. So in essence, you are providing your brain with evidence to showcase that you are worthy of the thing that has been presented to you.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. And I think it's a great solution to many of us who suffer imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do suffer that as well.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs, you think you're the only one, but they'll say, yo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I found ask-formations to really work because on a scientific level, the brain cannot simply believe something because it's been told. We believe the things for which we have seen evidence to support the statement that's been made or the belief that is being put towards you. So when you do an ask-formation, you provide yourself with evidence to believe the item that you are struggling with.
Oh, so it's definitely a step further from affirmations.
Yes.
Sure. That's another takeaway for me. I'm learning a lot of this conversation.
Yeah.
So we spoke about, challenges that are facing women, and Hetty doesn't want to dwell on.
The thing is, I feel that dwelling on challenges does not give you solutions. All it does is it presents more challenges to you. So whatever we focus on expands and multiplies.
Yes.
So if you focus on challenges, you will see more challenges.
Yeah.
If you focus on solutions, you will find more solutions.
So let's say there's someone out there who's facing a specific challenge, and it's a real life challenge, right? How do you then overcome that? Because it's not as easy as, no, I'm going to focus on the positives, especially if it's something that's you're feeling the pain, you're feeling it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, don't get me wrong. Challenges are real and they exist. You're not imagining it.
Yeah.
It's not a figment of your imagination. Challenges are real. in order to overcome the challenges, what you need to be able to do is actually to sit down and to say, with this challenge that has been presented to me, what is within my control?
Yeah.
What can I do in order to be able to overcome this particular thing that is in front of me? Is there somebody I can call? Is there something that I can do? Sometimes we can be so deep down in a hole that we're not going to find the automatic answer to the problems that we have.
Yeah.
We need to be able to do just the next available thing that we can control and do. Do that in this second, in this minute, in this hour, in this day.
Yeah.
You just do the next available thing that you are able to do. And that is the process of then taking one step and putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
That's it.
And sometimes it just takes, taking a walk.
Yeah.
In the sunlight.
Yeah. Sometimes it's that, sometimes it's one phone call, sometimes it's one SMS, sometimes it's a prayer.
Yeah.
It can take so many different forms, but it's just doing that one thing and putting that one foot in front of the other.
Sure, amazing. So Hetty, as an only child, I think I'm yet to meet an only child who works as hard as you. Yeah. What do you believe shaped you?
Yeah.
To be who you are?
Yeah. Look, to be honest with you, and I know how absolutely cliche this is going to sound because I'm sure so many people say it, but I really do have to give credit to my parents. I've been lucky, and I realize the privilege of being raised in a 2-parent household with parents that have had a zoomed in focus upon me and giving me the best life possible. And so I wish I could take credit, but I cannot. That is why, when people say they're self-made, I shrug a little bit, because we're all made by the community and the environment that has raised us. So I must give absolute credit to them. They haven't limited my ability to tap into my gifts and my talents and my abilities. And then over and above that, they are incredible human beings that you meet along your path and your journey that support you. So every client, every investor, even every mentee that has trusted me as their mentor, they inspire me as well. It's a two-way street. I'm very grateful even to the partner that I'm married to. My husband is incredibly supportive. He helps me see strengths in myself that I didn't even know I had. And you need those moments, because sometimes we do get down and out. It happens to the best of us, and you need to ensure that you've got a support system around you that's able to elevate you.
Sure, that's brilliant. Yeah, and I think the surroundings, as much as we don't want to believe it, the environment determines who you are gonna become.
It does.
You can be the most brilliant thing, but if you find yourself in the wrong environment,
100%,
your brilliance will never show.
100%, and that is why you find people who fight to move out of the environments that they were either born into or find themselves into. And other times they have to crawl out, but environment plays a huge role.
Hetty, you have recently become a mom.
Yeah. I have.
And I'm shocked to see how fresh and energetic you look.
Thank you.
How has that been going?
It has been going incredibly well. So I have witnessed a miracle in my lifetime. Having this miracle baby at the ripe old age of 40 has been absolutely remarkable.
Wow.
This child has come at a time where my husband and I tried for several years and nothing came of it, tried all kinds of human intervention. And then God did his thing. At a time where we were not even trying, this miracle came about naturally. So I can tell you without a shadow of doubt that I've experienced a miracle in my lifetime.
Wow.
He is beautiful. He is handsome. He is gorgeous. He is adorable. And he is one of the cutest human beings I've ever seen. And yes, I might be biased, but allow me.
Yeah, no, you're allowed. The reason why I asked about motherhood is there's one question that we normally ask our guests on this podcast. about your morning routine.
Yes.
And I don't know if yours has been affected, if you've ever had one, but what is your morning routine?
Look, my mornings are different with each passing day. It really does depend on the day. But let me tell you something that is very consistent with every morning, whether I've had a full night's sleep with the baby or not. I wake up every single morning and I just spend a moment, honestly, in gratitude. I realize how, oh gosh, contrite that might sound. But maybe if I provide the context of explaining that I've had periods in my life where I have suffered and gone through depression. So I know what it is like to not look forward to opening your eyes. I know what it is like to wake up in the morning and just think to yourself, what is the point? You know? And so because I've experienced the opposite, the fact that I am in this particular season right now, it's not wasted on me. I'm truly grateful for every single day, no matter how exhausted I may be. And I do get exhausted. I'm not always the most fun person to be around. But if there's something that is consistent, it is just basking in gratitude.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So that's your number one.
That is my number
routine?
one thing. I'm grateful for, I am truly grateful for life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. And then what follows after that?
What follows after that really depends. There are days where I've got meetings with our corporate clients. There are days where we're planning for workshops and we're on the ground training and teaching our entrepreneurs. There are other days where I'm teaching online on the Mentorship Club. And then there's some days that are quite literally soft. I'm taking a walk on the golf course. I'm enjoying the surroundings that are around me. I'm taking in life. I'm basking in vitamin D, having a cup of coffee, journaling. It really does depend. So on the busy days, I'm present in that. And on the days that are soft, I am enjoying life guilt-free.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you, with so many things that you do, right? How do you strategize to stay on track on all fronts?
You know, gosh, I try to ensure that I do not have long to-do lists that cause analysis paralysis. I also ensure that my focus is limited. Like I said, I will only have 3 main things that I'm focusing on in the year. And if whatever it is that is being presented to me does not fall into those 3 buckets, I'm not interested. I'm not doing it. I don't attend every event. I don't need to be seen everywhere. I'm not creating 100 reels because I met somebody. No, I am literally not doing that. I am so zeroed in and focused on what my focus is. And because I do that, I've literally seen my mental health, my physical health, my bank account health increase.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm not distracted. I don't want to lie to you.
You are one focused lady.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So Hetty, if there was one message that you could give to our viewers, a young lady or a young man sitting out there and looking at their future, and they are not sure what the future holds, what is that one advice that you can give them?
Gosh, I think we are over-advised. We are over-advised. We are over-conferenced. Maybe one of the things that I will do is let me just speak life. Let me speak life into the person that is watching this. I want to just remind everybody that there is no greater time in the history of humankind to be alive. There is no greater time. There are people that have been alive in times of war. They've been people that have been alive in times before the internet and before literally this rectangular thing that we hold in our hands called smartphones. There is no greater time in the history of humankind to be alive. I want to remind every single person that is watching this that every person's life has been designed for a reason. And we may all enter this life through different ways and different circumstances. Some of them are glorious and celebrated, and some of them is rooted in pain. However, I want everybody to please remember the fact that you are here for a reason. So you really want to ensure that you go out there, make your life count, and be great.
Sure. make your life count. So you heard it from Hetty, right? So one last question.
Yeah. We're sounding like politicians now.
Yes. In closing.
In conclusion.
Yes.
And finally.
Right?
Yes.
Who is the one person that inspires you and shapes your leadership?
Oh my goodness. This is a tricky one because I turn to different people from a leadership perspective. I'm going to use an unconventional example, and I don't want to make this necessarily about religion, but one of the greatest leaders that I've ever come across is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And let me tell you why. People often say to me, Hetty, I want to monetize. I don't have enough followers. And I'll often say to them, it's not about the number of followers you have, it's about the impact. One of the greatest examples of this is that Jesus had 12 followers and had the world's greatest impact.
Wow. Yo, that's rich.
So it is actually about what you are doing in the world to actually make a difference through your business, through your career, and through your various dealings. The values and tenets that we spoke about earlier on, he embodies that.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is a great role model for all of us, despite race or creed.
Sure. No, that's beautiful. So just focusing on impact regardless of audience.
Regardless of audience, don't say I'm going to wait to have 1 million followers before I do the thing. Do the thing now, and then the millions of followers will follow because you have done the thing.
Sure. Yeah, and that's so beautiful because, if even the word says, whatever your hands find to do, doing with all your might in this time. And I've seen that in my own life that there are seasons for everything.
Yeah.
There are things that you have strength to do when you in your 20s.
Yeah.
That now in your 30s is no longer relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in your 40s, you get new assignments to do. So it's critical that wherever you are, do what you need to do in that moment.
Exactly. And also what it speaks to is legacy as well. Because once again, we are reading books about a person whose legacy continues to impact and to vibrate across time, nations, etc. It knows no end. And that's what happens when you leave a legacy.
Sure. No, that's beautiful. And thank you so much, Hetty.
Thank you.
Without another final question.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Hetty the Entrepreneur. I have learned a lot myself. Any parting words?
Literally, go out there and be great.
Be great.
Be great. Don't cower. Don't dim your light. Don't apologize for your ambition. Go out there and be great.
So you've heard it only on the Leadership Podcast with Mutondi R. So do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. I love reading your beautiful comments and the hearts that you leave on the channel. So keep doing that. And please share with your friends, family, relatives that can benefit from these podcasts. So from Hetty and I, from the Leadership Podcast with Mutondi R, bye.